Welcome. In this session, we are going to talk about accounting period close process for the receivables application. You can close the receivables period after accounting entries are created for the transactions that belong to the period in question. You have transferred the accounting entries to the general ledger. So let's go through the list of the closing activities. This is our list of the activities. First, you want to complete all transactions for the period being closed and recognize revenue. We are talking here about billing transactions as well as customer payments. If you have invoices assigned to revenue scheduling rules, then you need to run recognize revenue process. Proceed to reconcile receipts to bank statement activity. In other words, you are going to matching bank statement lines to the customer payment that have been created in the receivables application. So let's go to account receivable work area so that I can show you where you would set or see these activities for the complete transactions. As you know, once you log into Oracle, you navigate to the receivables applications. If you click on billing, you will find here a lot of info tiles for the incomplete, approval, research, import, exceptions. If you see here, there are 9 transactions still incomplete in info tiles. For the approval, there are 2 still needs for approval. The type activity here is adjustment. Need actions, either approve, reject, or request informations. Here, if there anything related to the importing transaction from a third-party system or a legacy systems, you can also see some exceptions here to resolve and work on it. So to complete all transactions of the period belong to the period, that means you need to complete invoicing, credits, adjustments, complete receipts as well as reversals. If required, proceed to finalize invoices as well as customer report. This means you might need to run auto invoice one time or a few more times to make sure that all billing activities is accounted for. You also want to run lookbooks process to create customer payments and apply them. Complete the processing of refunds and the receipt write-off if applicable. If you have configured the late charge functionality, this is enabled for your business unit and your customers, then you want to generate late charges. Of course, you have to run also auto invoice to make sure that you import all transactions coming from external systems. Customer import refers to creating new customers if applicable. And also, again, as I mentioned earlier, if there are invoices with revenue recognition rule, you want to run revenue recognition process. So here, for example, if I click on the incomplete, here are 9 invoices. If I click for one of them, still incomplete. So you have to option either to enter or to complete, edit transactions, complete and create another, complete and close. Yes. For another invoice, you will see also the status here is still incomplete. So you have to either edit distributions, completed, remove the link between credit memo and transactions, apply a new credit memo to remove it from the info tiles of the incomplete transactions area. For the approval, as I told you before, if I click for one of these adjustments, you have the option to approve, reject, request more information to finalize this pending approval area. The same for the second one, either approve, reject, or request more information, and so on. If you have some report exceptions here, you will click on the info tiles and check the pending or exceptions and try to either delete it or work to resolve it. For here, if you notice here, there are 8 unprocessed lines. You can import transactions to check the exceptions to working on these exceptions. Let's talk about the bank statement. As you know, you can do this in cash management. There are 2 ways to perform bank statement reconciliations. You can do it manually using the user interface. So that means that you are going to be matching statement lines to customer payments without the help of an automated process. Now, normally you do have to do manually matching, but this is typically for exceptions that are left after you run the automatic reconciliation process. After you load the bank statement or create the bank statement in the user interface or using spreadsheet template, what you want to do is to proceed to run the auto reconciliation process. Once you run the auto reconciliation process, after that you will check that everything is matching. Whatever is not matched, you have to resolve it manually. Or again, you can run the auto reconciliation process. And this is through cash management. As you know, navigate to cash management, upload the bank statement either automatically or create it manually and start to make the matching between AR transactions and bank statement lines. Let's come back to the here. So this is the reconcile receipts to bank statement. Run create accounting and transfer to the general ledger. As you know, to run the create accounting process with the parameters that we will see after some times, accounting mode will be final, and then set the option transfer to general ledger to yes. Optionally, you can set the post in general ledger option to yes or no. This is option. Once create accounting has run, you want to proceed to review the subledger period close exception report. This report will allow you to review accounting event and journal entries that fail period close validation. So let's go to again the application. From here I can go to create accounting, printed either summary or detail. What is the ledger? You can select the proper ledger. Process category, is it optional because there is no in star here. What is the end date? I will keep it today. Here create accounting as a yes or no. Accounting mode as a final or draft. Accounting report detail or summary, keep it to detail to check if there are any exceptions or errors. Here is the option to transfer to general ledger or no. Post also yes or no. You can also give a name for the batch of general ledger, so it will be easy for you if you navigate to the general ledger and trying to search by this batch name. Once you select your parameters, just submit, and there is one process ended by 768 was submitted. Okay. You can navigate from tools and process schedule processes to check the status either successfully or not. Create receivable accounting 768. Some process running automatically. You have to refresh until the status changes to either succeeded or warning. As you see here, a lot of sub processes is completed and succeeded. If you go to down, still create accounting, posting, create accounting again. posting, port journals as a child sub-process, still running, posting journal for single ledger because we put the parameter of posting is yes, and transfer also to general ledger is yes. Here, what I told you before, that once the create accounting has been run, the exceptions will be also run to check if there are any exceptions or not in the accounting period. You can click on it here and go down to publish to check the exceptions or subledger exception report. So here also to export as, for example, HTML, application and date, our parameters shown here. There are number of event 5, number of event in error 1 for our receivables. For this invoice, there are events which can be processed because no data could be found in transaction object. This is our transactions, this class, this event, also transaction number, and from this invoice transaction number you can take it copy and navigate to the transactions to check the error. Journal entry is transferred, how many? 5. Still not transferred is 0. Also not required to be transferred is 0. But you have one event in error. This is transaction error or warning. Also we can through processes schedule process, you can only run subledger counting exceptions for the module or application receivables. Here subledger period close exception report without run the create account. You can run it separately and click OK and put your parameters. What is the journal source? You can select receivables. What is your ledger? Are you going to run it for specific journal category or keep it all? Also event class, all of the event class of the receivables, and accounting period from 2. It will give you the same result as I showed you before in this report. So this is the run the create accounting process and check the exceptions or subledger exceptions report. The next step is to change the status of the receivables period that you are trying to close pending. How to navigate it I will show you before, but setting the current period to close pending prevents new transactions from being entered during the reconciliation process. When the period is in close pending status, existing activity can be accounted for and transferred to the general ledger, and you have the ability to reopen the period if necessary. Now, there are a couple of differences between the closed pending status versus the closed status. Number 1, closed pending doesn't validate for unposted items. And number 2, you have the ability to create journal entries for activity that existed in the accounting period before setting it to close pending. So how to make these steps for the close or the change period to close pending. Let's go to again Oracle. You can go to home page from receivables application, account receivables, and on the taskbar here go to down, manage accounting periods, select the ledger. You will see all of the period and the status here. Once you click on it or just select the status, it will show you here open, here still, future, heal, I think closed, and so on. If I need to only pending or close pending for our period as October, just click on it and close pending. Once I click on close pending, there is one process submitted, 790. So I will again navigate to the schedule processes to check the status. Is it finished or not? Just refresh 790, close counting pending counting period for receivables. It succeeded. Once you come back and make refresh, just here it will change it to the close pending. So it's very important to change the status of the period to close pending to stop any other activities, and also it will help us for the next step as reconcile receivables balances to general ledger. The receivables to ledger reconciliation report and the financial data extract process. This report is predefined and allows you to compare balances in the receivables application versus balances in the general ledger application. Some important steps that need to be happen before you run the receivables to general ledger reconciliation report. First, you have to prepare receivables to general ledger reconciliation process to select the data for the summary section of the receivables to general ledger reconciliation reports. All processes launched by this program must run successfully before you can see the most current summary report. You can run only the reconciliation report after all of these sub-processes have completely successfully. You have the ability to drill down in the receivables to general ledger reconciliation report to view real-time details of the macro balances from the summary report. Before running the prepare AR to general ledger reconciliation process, you need to set again accounting period status to close or close pending to what? To prevent additional activity from being added to the period after this extract has run. Make sure that the subsequent accounting period is open so that business operations continue doing their reconciliation process. If needed, reopen the period to make adjustment entries. Optionally, you can select values from any of the segments of the chart of accounts depending on what accounts need to be reconciled. Make sure to not filter by any natural account values if you want to reconcile everything. So let's again go to receivables, done, go to home and select the application as receivables and go to account receivables. Here you have the option to run receivables to ledger reconciliation, but as I told you before that you need to prepare the receivable to general ledger reconciliation. From what? Again, monitor process, schedule new process, just write prepare. It will give you prepare receivables to general ledger reconciliation. Click OK, select your parameters. What is the request name? AR to GL October 23. What is the ledger business unit accounting period? Are you going to include intercompany or not? And on account items, unapplied and unidentified indicator. Once you select all of the required parameters, just submit it. Okay, so here AR to GL October 23. There is one submitted ended by 794. Just again make refresh until it is succeeded. Also sub process here prepare and prepare. It's also run automatically. Once the status has been changed to succeeded, you can go to down. All of them is succeeded. So again you can go to receivables and from count receivables go to tasks and receivable to ledger reconciliation. Click. It must give you our name. It take some times to prepare or to showing here. Here AR to GL October. We have only this request name. If you run a lot of requests, it will be showing here as a list of value. Once you click here, you can see receivable amount, counting, differences between receivables and accounting. Counting means GL, receivables, receivable applications. Here, for example, invoices, there are invoices 600,000, but here 400,000. So the difference 200,000. Again, applied receipts 100, but here 0. For the non-receivables being balance 0. If you need to check the differences between this amount and this amount, just click on the hyperlink here to show you the drill down of the differences for the invoice between receivables application and general ledger application. Take some time also to show you the details of these 200,000. As you see here, there are two invoices, this accounting date, transaction type or category, invoice number, amount 100,000 plus 100,000, it be 200,000. And so on. You can click on done or refresh or return, refresh, print, export, a lot of actions. If you need to return again to the receivable to ledger reconciliation, again I need to check these differences and these differences. Just click on it and it will give you the details as drill down. There are again also receipts and another receipts, and this is the data of the differences. Another options also, it will help you to make these differences. It's a very important enhancement to the subledger accounting receivable summary reconciliation real-time subject area. This is an OTBI subject area. You can have add a new subfolder. Let me show you also. Just go to home and peeling. Go to reports and analytics. Create new analysis. Go down and search by subledger receivables summary differences. Let me receivables summary reconciliation real time. Just click on it and click on the subject areas, and you can select reconciliation, differences, details, and select a lot of subfolders here: reconciliation causes of differences, for the adjustment, for the bill receivables, for credit memo, invoice, receipt, unapplied receipts. All of these subject areas as subfolders, you can select on it and create your columns and interaction. Is it default or drill, or you have to navigate to transactions? And from the bills receivables, I'm going to select reconciliation item category, and from credit memo I can also select the differences and so on. So this is create OTBI for subledger accounting receivable summary reconciliation real time. The next step, you will maybe add the title and the tables also. You have to add the tables to improve the performance of the GL reconciliation differences. Drill down to receivables. One consolidated action link displays the transactions causing the differences, helping also to prevent data mismatch between accounting summaries and the differences. Drill down. No problem, I can make another video for this area, but I think it is very easy. But you have to know which title and which tables you are going to select it to build this OTBI business analysis for the differences between reconciliation GL and receivables applications. Once you reconcile and everything, you have the option to close receivables period. Once you close the receivables period, again also you have to navigate to home, receivables and billing. Go to account receivables and go to tasks, manage accounting period, select the ledger and select the period and close the period. The closed period is successfully closed. You have to open the new or the next receivables period, run interface process and run reports. So this is the list of the checklist of how to close the receivables application period. You have to complete month-end activities such as importing billing information, applying receipts, approving adjustments. If there are unposted transactions with invoicing rule, you have to run revenue recognition, review also the execution report to confirm all relevant records are picked up for proceed. You have to set the receivable period status to close. You have to run the create counting of the receivables of the period to the final and the transfer and the post to general ledger. You have to also to run the ledger period close exceptions report to review items that may be prevent period close and make corrections. Compare invalid journals to create accounting execution report activities, and run the reconcile or receivables to general ledger reconciliation process to check also the differences. Once you resolve and complete and applying and create accounting and transfer to general ledger and the posting and approval whatever is pending, and also import all of the transactions and make this reconciliation between bank statements and your receipts. All of these very important points or checklist finished, you can close period without any issues. There is any very important here, that incomplete invoices and unapproved adjustments don't prevent period close. Again, this is not prevent you from closing the period. It that means you can close the period with incomplete invoices and unapproved adjustments. I hope now that you got what the checklist to close your receivables period. If you like my content, just subscribe. If not, don't subscribe. Thanks for watching.